In an unexpected twist, Matthew Vaughn's ARGYLLE concludes by presenting the genuine Agent ARGYLLE and then cutting back to a sequence from the mid-credits that is connected to the Kingsman franchise. Ellie Conway, whose actual name is Rachel, eventually recalled every detail of her previous life as a CI and agent after many detours and turns. Together with Iden, Ellie was able to forward the division's master list to Alfred Solomon, the former CI deputy director, who had been looking for information about the division for years. However, they almost fail when they encounter Ruth, who uses a music box to restore Ellie's brainwashing. Ellie and Iden escape on a boat with Kira, who had surreptitiously entered the division, and then claim to be an avid reader of Ellie's ARGYLLE books, as the division's ship explodes behind them. With the master list in Solomon's hands and the division exposed as a rogue organization, Ellie resumes her writing career shortly after, releasing her sixth and last novel. Ellie is astonished when Henry Cavill's Agent ARGYLLE, sporting a shirt and mullet, approaches her during a Q&A session and informs her that she likely has some questions for him. While Ellie Conway created a fictional version of Agent ARGYLLE that was partially based on herself, the actual Agent ARGYLLE emerged during an interview for Ellie's book. ARGYLLE gave the impression that he understood why Ellie had included him in her book, but he also hinted that she would be interested in learning more about him, especially since, until just now, he had only been a fantasy spy. It's an unexpected turn of events for Ellie. It is strange that Agent ARGYLLE would only come to light now, after 6 books. It's probable that ARGYLLE was aware of Ellie's amnesia and brainwashing before she made the decision to show up, waiting for her to have all the answers. On the other hand, it's possible that ARGYLLE was unable to contact her because he was on a mission. It's unclear, though, as of ARGYLLE's conclusion, if ARGYLLE is a spy for the CIA or engaged in other activities entirely. Ellie thought she was only a writer who had made up the world of ARGYLLE's spies. Ellie was actually CIA spy Rachel Kill, as it turned out. The fictitious character ARGYLLE was derived from the shortened form of her name, Agent ARGYLLE. She had accompanied Kira on missions as a team with Aiden, that is, until a fall caused Rachel to lose her memory, at which point Ruth and the division's leader, Ritter, intervened, indoctrinated Rachel to make sure she wouldn't join the CIA again, and they lived for years pretending to be Rachel's parents. Ellie's true identity was further complicated by the fact that she was a double agent for the division and the CIA. That explains why Ritter and Ruth were able to capture her and hold her so easily. It was something Aiden was unaware of before to her memory loss, that she was playing both sides, and although Ellie's fictitious life included elements that were made up, some, like her ability to ice skate, were based on real abilities. She is well known, therefore it's unclear if she will rejoin the CIA at this point. The division is a sinister group that deviated from its original plans. Ellie was the important component of their entire scheme. By using her books, they were able to forecast where the master key had been sent and keep it out of the hands of the CIA. The information of every division agent was stored on the master key, which was taken from the hacker back in. Destroying it was the only way to guarantee that their operations remained secret. Ellie was kept alive since she was the only one who knew what happened to the master key. The division's ship was destroyed and they were exposed, which diminished the organization's influence. Naturally, that does not imply that the division is over. There might be other senior agents who were not on the ship or who made an escape in some way who would try to bring the division back online. They could, at the absolute least, try to get revenge on Ellie for betraying them. But given their shame and public exposure, it's likely that they won't be operating at all in the interim. During a mission, Kira took a bullet to the heart, but the vascular corridor kept her alive. Ellie shot Aiden using this same tactic in front of division agents. As long as the blood supply was cut off, a bullet aimed at a specific angle would pass through the vascular corridor instead of striking the heart and cause no harm. In her 6th ARGYLLE book, Ellie describes the method by which she would have brought Kira back to life. She learned about this method from Kira, who was repeating what Ellie had verified 5 years earlier. Ellie's employment as an operative for the division and the CIA was one of the novel's biggest turns. Although she knew where the master list was because she was Bakunin's main contact, she killed the hacker after he provided Saba the list. Only Ellie would know where he sent the master list, since she most certainly killed him. Had she managed to keep Bakunin alive, he could have exposed Ellie as a double agent and given the division the location of the list. It's likely that Ellie had doubts about his ability to maintain the secret, even though killing him gave the impression that she was merely trying to keep herself hidden. And while Ellie/Rachel was employed by the division as well, her first allegiance was to the CIA. Ellie was just entering the division's ranks, just like Kira. The CIA agent made sure Solomon had the master list at the end and turned on Ritter and Ruth because she had no intention of working with them in the long run. Ellie continued to have hallucinations of the imaginary agent ARGYLLE throughout ARGYLLE. At first, it was because the writer's spy was unable to discriminate between fact and fiction. Ellie continued seeing ARGYLLE fighting in Aiden's place during the train battle, making it difficult to distinguish between the actual spy and the imposter. As the movie went on, Ellie's fear was eased by ARGYLLE's picture conversing with her. Ellie's confidence was somewhat bolstered by witnessing ARGYLLE during moments of high anxiety and adrenaline. Though Ellie wasn't sure whether she could take anything that was being thrown at her, the thought that ARGYLLE was traveling with her helped her to relax and stay focused, because he was essentially a reflection of her, like a piece of her awareness. Ellie received the encouragement she needed from ARGYLLE to get through a challenging task. Only when she began to have confidence in her own skills did ARGYLLE virtually vanish. ARGYLLE retreated more and more as Ellie transformed into Rachel, since she was now living reality rather than just distorting it. A major surprise at the book's conclusion is that Agent ARGYLLE is a genuine person. Instead of ending on a suspenseful note, ARGYLLE features a scene during the credits that presents the youthful Aubrey ARGYLLE, who appears to be off on his first expedition as a Kingsman. The scenario is set 20 years before the events of ARGYLLE and connects Matthew Vaughn's film to the Kingsman series, while also setting up a prequel examining ARGYLLE's life and mission, which is probably covered in Ellie's first espionage novel. Furthermore, the movie's conclusion sets up a sequel that stars an adult ARGYLLE, which may clarify how he came to be mentioned in Ellie's book. A follow-up to ARGYLLE might examine Ellie's relationship with the real ARGYLLE. After all, for the spy-turned-writer to have written about him so eloquently, they would have had to cross paths at some point. Vaughn has publicly acknowledged that ARGYLLE will become a franchise and will feature 2 additional films. Although a direct sequel has not yet been officially confirmed, the ARGYLLE prequel series has already been confirmed. It is intended for ARGYLLE and Kingsman to be associated with the 3rd franchise.